Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome to So Much to Talk About. My name is Nabaté Isles, and it's always a pleasure to share facts and viewpoints in the world of sports. Before I introduce this wonderful guest that's been a regular on the show, especially at the end of the year, before I introduce him, please check out my YouTube channel, N as in No, S as in Sam, I as in Indigo, NSI World, to check out past episodes and interviews of So Much to Talk About. And this is
They can see us.
Yes, they can see us. They can see us, my friend. But let me finish the introduction, and then we'll get going. But this gentleman, he's like a brother to me. He's one of the great sports minds that I've ever been around, and I learned so much from him when it comes to sports, but not just sports, but life in general. Very wise individual. He always comes at the end of the year as we do our year in reviews. Last year we did our decade in review because it's the end of the decade. This year has been like no other year, 2020, and we will delve into it. It's my pleasure and honor to present Mr. Seth Kamens. How are you, sir?
Yeah, this is, I think, the 13th year we've done this. We
pretty much since 08. Since 08.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we met on, what do you call it? On Stump the Schwab. We did Sports Jeopardy.
Yes, sir.
Now it's, 13 years later, my God, you look the same. I've gained about 50 pounds.
Oh, stop.
Horrible hair. But the sports love is still there. I've hosted a podcast, and I guess now it's a video cast. For
yes, please talk about that more.
Seth and Sean, which has been on off of throwbacksportspage.com, which is the website I used to own. Nabaté has been on our show countless times. Nabaté and Sean. It's an interesting dynamic, to say the least. You could check us out on StreamYard. It's a good stuff. It's always fun being on this show. And it's funny, usually we talk about, I joke with Nabaté, it's different, like this year has been bad, I have no F. And a year that has been complete crap for everybody and everything. Mm-hmm. This has been actually a pretty interesting list to put together.
Yes.
Some stuff here, which, some high people, some, people on our list, which is just different.
Yeah. And that's the great thing, because when you send your list, I don't look at it and then I make sure I send mine like last minute.
I looked at your list for the first time about 5 minutes ago. Asked one question and was like, okay, I'm good on the rest of it.
Yes, yes, indeed. But we're going to get started, because as we always do for our year review and last year's decade review, before our years in reviews every year annually, what we do is we go over in this order: best games and matches of the year, best upsets of the year, best teams of the year, and best coaches and managers, most memorable moments, positive or negative. And we will be talking a lot about those moments, best athletes and 2021 breakout stars. So Seth, without further ado, our best games and matches. We have my number one and your number two, Tampa Bay Rays over the Los Angeles Dodgers, Game 4 of the World Series.
Just the ending of it is an absurd ending of it. It would be an absurd ending for a Little League game, let alone for a World Series. I don't remember the exacts, but Azarina hits a single. It was like 3 errors to get, and Azarina comes around from first and scores. I think you would remember the dynamic of it better than I do, but it was a holy S moment, for lack of a better term. You don't see those too often anymore. And it was unbelievable to watch.
And then you thought maybe the Los Angeles Dodgers, my goodness, will they blow it again? You know what I mean? Like, especially to a team like Tampa Bay that does not have near the talent that the Dodgers have. But the Dodgers did it in 6 games, and it was great for them.
We talk about best teams.
Absolutely. It was great for them to finally win that, for sure. Now, I have here my number 2, Tampa Bay Lightning against the Columbus Blue Jackets.
I pulled it off last minute for my honorable mention.
Right, no doubt. But Game 1, Stanley Cup playoffs, the first round. And let me tell you, remember, the Columbus Blue Jackets, they bludgeoned Tampa Bay last year. Tampa Bay was the number 1 team, one of the historically great regular season teams in NHL history. And the Blue Jackets totally, they put their will on them. They totally made the Lightning quit, pretty much. They quit the series. They were swept by the Blue Jackets. So this was a big test for Tampa Bay to be able to get the Blue Jackets once again. And in that Game 1, going 5 overtimes, that set the tone. And then the Lightning went on to win the Stanley Cup title. What a comeback for the Lightning. What a comeback.
What validation for Cooper and Steven Stamkos, who didn't play for a lot of it because of injury, and Victor Hedman. My number 1, which you didn't have, Notre Dame Clemson version 1.
Yeah.
Oh, is that game great?
Yeah, it was a great game.
It was
without Trevor Lawrence,
Trevor Lawrence and without a couple other defensive players. And look, the argument whether they belong in the college football playoff is a whole other discussion. But from a true enjoyment game, now I'll be honest, there was nothing I enjoyed more than watching Maryland whoop up on Penn State. Don't get me wrong, but that aside, the Notre Dame Clemson was one of the 2 games of the year for me in college football. The other one was Oklahoma, Texas, who I just missed, which went 4 overtimes, but it just wasn't a real relevant game. Notre Dame Clemson put Notre Dame back in the national spotlight for the first time really in 5 or 6 years and propelled them to making the college football playoff, even though they got absolutely bludgeoned, as you said.
Yeah.
In the ACC title game a couple of days ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And the match that I have at number 3, the Baltimore Ravens against the Cleveland Browns, that happened a couple weeks ago. And you know what? That's the thing. The Ravens, remember, the Ravens were originally the Cleveland Browns. Art Modell took them and they've dominated and beat up the Cleveland Browns ever since, and this was a game, even though the Browns lost, it showed that they've arrived and they're still up on the Baltimore Ravens. Right? If the season ended right now, they'll miss the playoffs at this time. The Ravens would miss the playoffs. So the Browns are really proving that they're looking to put themselves as an elite team, and this is without Odell Beckham Jr. It's great. And then now number 4, Willie Zhang versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
Just say Joanna J.
Yeah, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I did get it right though. I did get it. So but and it was personal between them. Joanna was very disrespectful to Whaley, and Whaley did not. Back and forth. I mean, Joanna looked like she looked like remember the Martin episode with Tommy Hearns when he got in the ring with Tommy Hearns?
No, I was thinking
face was
the
flat.
Oliver
Or the Elephant Woman.
McCall fight.
Or the Elephant Woman. Instead of Elephant Man, she's the Elephant Woman. No, that's not right.
There was. I think it was Oliver McCall.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, Oh no, Hasim Rahman against Holyfield. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. Oh
what a
my
crazy fight that was. The other one I wanted to throw in quickly: Dallas Mavericks Clippers Game 4, the Luka game, where they were down 20. Luka Doncic, the presumptuous preseason favorite for MVP this year.
Yes.
1, 12, and 12, or some ridiculous number. Hits a 3-pointer at the buzzer in overtime. They come back from 21 down. They push it to Game 7. They lose, or 6 or 7. Without Porzingis, they lose. But it did kind of lead to some doubt going into the Denver series, which is exactly where that came into play. Yeah,
and I have that as my number 5 actually. In my honorable mention, you have DM against Zverev. Alexander Zverev. Yes, U.S. Open final. I have DM against Djokovic in the Australian Open final. Yes. So
I mean, they were both great matches. DM and Zverev was just a war of attrition. It wasn't a Federer Nadal, Federer Djokovic kind of match. Both of them had been top 5 to 7 for the last 5 years. Neither had won a Grand Slam, and the stress, you could just see the stress on both of them beyond belief in that 5th set. And props to Thiem for pulling it out.
That's right. And there's their opportunity because Djokovic put himself out of the tournament, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah, that's one of the more interesting moments of the year.
Yes, indeed. So, and then your honorable mention really quickly.
Bayern Munich 8, Barcelona 2. And the reason that the value of it is really, precipitates the beginning of the end of Messi in Barcelona. Because after that, this is when when they fire the coach, Messi decides over the summer he wants to leave, and all hell breaks loose. In Barcelona, and knowing he's there, this is his last year.
Wow, no doubt. Wow. And so those are our best games and matches. And now moving on to best upsets. My number 1 upset, the Miami Marlins over the Chicago Cubs in the first round of the Major League Baseball playoffs. The Marlins weren't even supposed to get in, but they were only.
They were supposed to hit 400 from a percentage. Number 5 that they made the playoffs in the first place, let alone that they beat Chicago.
Yeah, but being in Chicago, that makes actually being a 60-game season, like you could have sometimes surprise teams because it's so short of a season, and everything. But the Marlins beating Chicago, that shows right there. Chicago has just been on a descent since winning that World Series in 2016,
and that's why there's a good chance Chris Bryant leaves. Theo Epstein is now gone. We're going to see how that team look, they had a very nice run. They could have probably done more than win one, or at least get to more than one series. But look, they're always going to be thought of fondly by every Cubby fan.
Yes, indeed. So you're
My
number one.
Oh, poor Sean. I mean, it is so painful to be a Jets fan. They're 0-13. They're playing a 9-4 Rams team. And the reason that it's so relevant is because, look, everyone is tanking for Trevor. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
And they are...
Or sever for Trevor.
Sever for Trevor. Tank for Trevor, sever for Trevor. And look, the players aren't doing it. The coaches aren't doing it because they're going to be fired at the end of the year, so they have no reason to. But to go to the LA, this is the biggest regular season upset in 25 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, I had it as my honorable mention. The reason why is because in the National Football League, every team is professional, and especially later in the season, teams get it, even though the Jets were on 13, they're going to play better later in the season and they have pride, but they're all professional teams. So any team could beat any team in the NFL any given Sunday, so that's why I have that as an honorable mention. It's still an upset, but regular season NFL games, I can't say it was an upset, for sure.
I don't agree, but I get it.
Yeah, no doubt.
You want to do your number two?
Clara Towson versus Jennifer Brady, you the American
and I'm a tennis player and a fan.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, tennis is my sport too, of course. But Brady's top 20 in the world and everything. And she in the French Open losing in the first round, and she had a good showing in the U.S. Open, and loses in the first round to a 70-year-old qualifier, who's the best junior player in the world. But still, you can't let that happen, especially when you're playing good tennis leading up to a tournament. So
my number two, and it's similar to the Jets, is Watford 3, Liverpool 0. And the reason it matters is Liverpool was undefeated going at this point. They had not lost in 27 games in their season. Watford was the last place team in the league. It ended up getting demoted. Yeah. And I actually watched this game with complete confusion during busy season last year. And so Watford whooped them. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. Busy
season is early spring for those of you that don't know in the tax world.
Exactly. So my number three was, and we talked about this a little, Teofilo Lopez beating Vasily Lomachenko. And Lomachenko was, depending on your perception, number one or number two on pound for pound. Maybe number three at lowest, because you're talking Canelo, you're talking Terrence Crawford.
Yeah, I had Lomachenko number two, and Canelo's number one, even before that fight.
Crawford hasn't fought the people.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So Lopez beat him. I watched the fight. This was not a controversy. It wasn't a robbery.
That's right.
He beat him, I'd say, around 8-4, 9-3.
And he showed skills. And also Lopez, I wouldn't say this is an upset because Lopez was already a champ blowing out Richard Comey. You know what I mean? Who was a good fighter.
It was a one punch KTFO.
Yeah. But I'm saying to knock out a professional like that when you're in your 12th fight, 13th fight, that shows. And Lopez, that's what I'm saying. To me, I thought Lopez had a shot. I really did, because he's big. He's bigger. He's naturally bigger. And also he has skills. When you're bigger and you have skills.
Lomachenko probably moved up a weight.
Too much. Exactly. And when you get a good big man against a great little man, it could be even. It could be even. You know what I'm saying?
Look at Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia.
Exactly. Exactly.
Great big man will beat a great little man.
That's right.
And
That's
Lopez,
right.
We don't know if he's going to be great, but he surely was great that night.
Well, he's great for the sport of boxing.
Yes,
that's the thing with his marketability and everything. Yeah. And he's humble and he wants to get better. That's the thing too. Now, number three, my upset, Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns over Iowa State, and Iowa State ended up being a top 10 team. You know what I mean? At the end of the season, being a top 10 FBS team, and that was a big upset right there. Iowa State, they were able to come back and bounce back from that. But then we have here, I have this. I'm sorry, number 4, Denver Nuggets over the Los Angeles Clippers. Wow, trailing 3-1. The Clippers, I think they checked out mentally. They were checked out.
See, I can't call it an upset because on Seth and Sean, I picked it.
You picked it from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's.
I really have liked Denver,
that's great.
I never really liked how the Clippers were put together. I just didn't. I don't.
Wow. I mean, the clip, they had everything though. They had everything.
Yeah,
And then
Paul George to me is always that guy that I
well,
can
he's
never
struggling.
really get. At his best, he's phenomenal, but are we going to get him at his best? I don't know. And Kawhi is Kawhi, but the team never really felt in sync through the year, and especially after the bubble. Look, this is a weird year.
It was, and they weren't mentally there, to be honest. Because if they were mentally there, they would have beat Denver, even if they were on point mentally.
But I'll tell you that Denver team. Look, Murray was the breakout star of the bubble.
Oh yes, yes indeed.
Jokic is one of the top 2 centers in the league.
One top 10 players in the league. Yep.
Exactly. So it's not. It's fluid. It may have been a little bit of an. I didn't see that as an upset just because I think Denver's really good.
Yeah.
Not because I think they were better than LA. I just thought the way LA had seemed, it didn't work for me as an upset. I was surprised, but it wasn't an upset. The one that we both have is and this was a pretty easy pick for both of us. Yeah. Tennessee going to Baltimore and whooping that 14 Ravens team.
Yeah, it was a rout indeed. And this is a Ravens team that has, throughout the years have done well in the have playoff experience over, you know what I mean? Like a good core. But then you have Lamar Jackson there, and it kind of puts questions on what he does in playoff situations, so.
And we'll see. I mean, look, he started the year before against the Chargers.
Oh, the worst 3 quarters I've ever seen by a quarterback in the playoffs.
Maybe except for Roethlisberger on Monday night. But yeah.
I'm talking about in the playoff game. Oh, yeah.
Well, remember, TJ Yates was a quarterback for a playoff game. If you remember, it was like in Houston. He was like the number 5 quarterback, and he ended up starting a couple years ago.
And he played better than Jackson did in those first 3 quarters,
But, Jackson was also a rookie That was his rookie year coming in and playing. But a Tennessee team, which we now know is really built for the playoff team.
That's right.
They are forgetting how good Kansas City is, and Kansas City is sensational. I would not, that AFC, those top 3, I do not want to play Tennessee.
Yeah, man. And
I do not want to be trying to tackle Derrick Henry in the 4th quarter of a 17-17 game, and we're seeing a play action with him and going deep to A.J. Brown and Corey Davis.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll see. That's for another show for sure. We talk about the playoffs, absolutely. But Kansas City, and you have Kansas State, over Oklahoma, which I feel any conference game is an upset because
the way it played out for me was Kansas State was down 21 points in the late 3rd. And came back, and they ended up like Kansas State ended up like 3-8. And look, if Oklahoma wins that game, they are probably in the BCS over Notre Dame.
Yeah, that is true.
Literally, you're talking they would be 10-1, and they would have avenged their loss in the ACC title in their title game.
But those conference games, teams know each other like the back of each other's hands. That's the thing.
Kleiman's been there 2 years. I don't know how much he knows about them. Oklahoma was just struggling.
But it's just the whole culture.
Yeah, I get it.
It's definitely. But moving on now to the best teams, which this will be quick. I have you have number 1 for your teams, Bayern Munich, and I have number 2. I have number 1 Kansas City. It's like flip flop on both our lists. So you talk about Bayern Munich, I'll talk about Kansas City.
Very easy. They won the treble. They won the Bundesliga for the 8,000th consecutive year. I kind of feel like I have Bayern Munich number 1 every year.
It's like 8 straight year. Damn.
Exactly. They won the what do you call it?
Champions League, and in which they blew out. I mean, they dominated Champions League for sure.
Exactly. So they won that, and they won the German Cup. So they've won the triad, and they've won the German League 9 years in a row, 8 years in a row, 8 out of 9, some ridiculous number like that. Yeah, they're the best. And look, it's them or Kansas City 1-2. You can flip a coin for me on that.
No doubt. Wow. And now the Kansas City Chiefs, what they're doing now, only 1 loss this season. They dominated the playoffs last year. It's been a great, Patrick Mahomes is like all world. Andy Reid is now is definitely a Hall of Famer now, So it's just that offense is just one of the most entertaining offenses you will ever see, you know, for sure. And Kansas City, they're definitely the overwhelming favorites to repeat as Super Bowl champions going into Super Bowl in Tampa in February. But I have the Los Angeles Dodgers number 3. They had easily and you have them as an honorable mention. I have the Dodgers because they easily had the best record in Major League Baseball. They had the best talent, easily the best team, and they finally exercised the demons to be able to win that World Series.
Like, to me, they were the best team in the league. But to me, they've been better over the last couple of years. Actually, well, maybe not because of Mookie, but other than that, they were better in other years, except for that. It kind of felt like the Brooklyn Dodgers of '55, where they kept struggling, lost to the Yankees, lost to the New York Giants, and then when they were just a little bit past where you thought they were going to win it, boom,
they went. Well, no, I never thought. No, not this Dodger team. No, for the next 10 years, Seth, they are dangerous because all of their core is in their 20s, mid to late 20s. They're in their primes now. Kershaw. And but Kershaw's still one of the best pitchers in baseball. Yeah. He's only 32 or something, 32 years old. He's just. So that's what I'm saying. And also, their farm system is top 2 in Major League Baseball, and Dustin May and Gavin Lux. And
I think which they may be trading for Francisco Lindor. Like, I think I looked at the team. You know, they should have beaten probably Houston. They should have beaten Washington in the what do you call it, in the NLCS last year. Mm-hmm. They've been one of the teams for 3 or 4 years.
Oh, the first round. Yep. Was it the first round? Divisional round. Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
They should have won. This should not have been their first.
Yeah.
And I guess the way I looked at it is I'm surprised it took them so long to get to this, which is probably why I pushed them back a little bit. I also thought the other teams, as I said, there were some really, really good teams this year.
Yeah, they were, and the Dodgers, to me, with Mookie, that put them over the top for sure. You know, definitely. And I got the Lakers. You have the Lakers number 5. I have the Lakers number 4. You know, of course, you know, winning the championship, LeBron James, great job. And real quick on the Lakers. Yeah.
No, I mean, look, what held them lower to me was simply they didn't beat a great team along the way. Which you can't blame them for. And I think it's just it's a hard year to judge a team, you know, to judge what this playoffs were.
Yeah, and the bubble in general, you know. And
they were not as dominant as Tampa by any stretch. Mm-hmm. They weren't as dominant as Liverpool. So I mean, look, they're the number 4 team in the world. It's not exactly a huge, you know.
Well, I got them better than Tampa though, because Tampa wasn't the best team in their conference. Tampa was still, you know what I mean? Like the Lakers they won the West easily, and the West is deep. You know what I mean? So that's why I have the Lakers above Tampa, but Tampa's number 5. I have them. And Seth. Oh, and my honorable mention, the Gonzaga Bulldogs, you know, already undefeated. They've beaten 3 of the top 15 teams in the country. They could have won a national championship. Of course, there was no tournament. So I have Gonzaga honorable mention. You have Liverpool number 3.
Yep. First time in 30 years, they finally won a championship. And did they blow them out? They beat Man City, I think, by 18 or 19 points. They were 32-3.
Yeah.
Dominant team. And they're leading the Champions League this year as well. They're leading the EPL going into Christmas as well.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't put them there, they're showing in the Champions League. That was the only reason. Them losing in round of 16. That was the only reason why they didn't
make you pulling up the soccer love.
No doubt. So moving on, coaches, best managers. I have Andy Reid as my number 1 for the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, the offensive explosion that they have, and that's him. You know, him grooming Eric Bieniemy as well. Him having already Hall of Fame level quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. Him having probably the best tight end in football by the end of the day, Travis Kelce. Tyreek Hill. Who thought Tyreek Hill will be one of the most explosive players in the last 25 years in football? Like, it's just amazing what they've done.
Yeah, the only I have Reed number 4. The only reason I have Matt low is because I'm more of almost like the Matt Campbellish, where or we used to do the Bill Snyder, where you take the team from nothing and build them to 9-3. Mm-hmm. That team was going to win 12 games no matter what. That team, they're so talented.
But he developed that talent.
He's fantastic.
That's the thing. He developed them because he's been there 7 seasons. You know what I mean? So
doesn't seem that long, but yeah. He's a phenomenal coach. The talent is so overwhelming there that is why I didn't have him at that level. It's like giving Bill Belichick the coach of the year every year, but New England never even had the talent that this Kansas City team did.
Yeah, but remember, Hill was a fourth round pick. Travis Kelce, 4th-round pick. Patrick Mahomes, not the number 1 quarterback in his class, picked. He was 3rd.
Yeah, I'm sure Ryan Pace is regretting that one.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. I think it's Andy Reid that's made them this. That's the thing. Yeah, for sure. And then I have Hansi Flick of Bayern Munich because of their domination. FC Bayern Munich. I mean, you have Flick. Do you have Flick on your list? Oh my God.
On my list.
Oh my goodness!
Because
but you did have
again. The team has so much talent. It's and the division in the German league is just not that good.
Good point.
They have RB Leipzig. They have Borussia Dortmund. They have a couple of these, but they don't have the depth that.
But Champions League, undefeated in the Champions League, they were dominant. You know, that was that's what made them. But I got Jurgen Klopp. I have number 5. You have him number 3.
Oh, he's the best.
Number 2,
best coach in the world. He's incredible to watch. He's so animated. He's built again, similar to what you're talking about with Andy Reid. Mm-hmm. He's brought in all these guys, and except for 1 or 2, none of them have been the monster monsters.
Yeah.
What in these? My God, I feel like a soccer expert. Jesus, all these guys, and he's melded a great team, not just individual talents, but great team.
And you have Don Manley number 1.
I have Don Manley number 1 simply because I didn't think this team was going to win 15 games this year.
Yes, he saved his gig for a longer time for sure.
Yeah, I did not think this team was. I thought this team was gone till pretty much 2025.
Yeah,
and not that they're winning a World Series anytime soon. But to get them to the second round of the playoffs with the talent that they have, forget it.
Yeah. And then, like I said, the 60 games, that's why he didn't get in for me. If it was 162, then yes, he would have been in there. But I have, real quick, Mark Few, number 3 for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, John Cooper of Tampa Bay Lightning, and Brian Flores, we both have him as an honorable mention, Seth.
Yep. He will be the coach. I think he's going to be the coach of the year in the NFL this year. I threw Luke Fickell in because that Cincy team probably should be in the college football playoff. And
yes, that's very true. And they're undefeated. Yes,
and they're undefeated. Indeed. And Vogel, considering nobody wanted him to have this job, people were grooming Jason Kidd to take over for him as soon as possible. And for whatever, he was able to maintain and steady the ship. And he did what he needed to do.
And he provided a defensive philosophy for sure for the Lakers. Wow. Exactly. But most memorable moments, positive or negative. I mean, my number 1 is COVID-19 puts a halt on sports. March 11th, 2020, when Rudy Gobert was the first athlete in the NBA to test positive for COVID. And then they shut that league down and everything else shut down.
And everything went down. And to me, that's it. I didn't even bother including it because it's just a given at this point.
Well, yeah.
But I understood. Mine was, you had the death of one of the 10 greatest basketball players of all time, the most influential commissioner of all time, and one of the 5 greatest soccer players of all time.
You know, 1 year.
You got Kobe, you got David Stern, you got Diego Maradona. Not really much you can say about any of them. We all know the impact that they've had in their respective sports on their respective cities, countries, so on and so forth.
And I had just Kobe for number 3 because of how shocking it was. Like, it was out of nowhere. I remember reading on Twitter. It was weird. They didn't talk about him like Kobe Bryant. We all know who he was. They said Kobe Bryant, 42 basketball star, like that. You know what I mean? It was shocking on January 26th. Just that death. You know,
I was watching Maryland. I want to say Maryland, Wisconsin, or Maryland. I was watching one of the college basketball games, and I think I texted you and I texted Sean. It's just. Yeah. What do you even say to that?
Yeah. Oh my God. It was.
And then David Stern dies, 2 weeks later?
Oh no, before. He died right after the New Year. Yeah, right after the New Year.
It put such a pall on things, and then, 6 weeks later, pretty much the world ended.
That's right.
So it's been and you can just. It's funny. Kobe, in a lot of ways, has become more beloved after he retired and everything he's done after the game.
That's right.
Than he ever was during.
That's right.
And because of, the person he became as he got older.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, indeed.
It's there's nothing you can really say.
Yeah. Well, God rest his soul. And then I had tied for number one with COVID, Black Lives Matter advocated. Black Lives Matter by all types of athletes, all different races, all different creeds, backgrounds, sports leagues emphasizing Black Lives Matter. And I think that led to Major League Baseball doing a great thing with the Negro leagues, recognizing the Negro leagues, yes, as like, as part of Major League Baseball, which should have been done. But anyway,
should have been done years ago.
But I think Black Lives Matter is really for society, just talking about the systemic racism, police brutality, everything that's gone on for over 4 centuries in this country. But also, too, it lets people of other colors be able to empathize and see what we go through as people of color and everything. And that's really powerful. Sparking conversation.
It was. The whole thing has been eye-opening, for lack of a better term. And not that I consider myself, I don't want to go into a deep tangent on it.
Right.
But I think what you said pretty much articulated it is better than I can. It brought to the forefront something that's been lingering for years, more than years, decades. And the ability of sports to kind of bring it to the forefront, where in other aspects of life, it wouldn't have the same impact. And I talk about it with Milwaukee boycotting. One of my number 3 is Milwaukee boycotting one of the playoff games.
The Bucks, yep. And that's right. With the shooting of Jacob Blake, which was continuously happening. Then George Floyd was before that. Just continuous things,
Floyd catalyst for all of this. Because I think for a lot of us, it was the first time we've heard about it. It's peripheral. When you see the video, it's real. It's a little bit more real.
Yeah. And that's the thing now with videos, you have video phones and stuff. Now that brings more awareness because, of course, this has been happening for centuries. But, of course, the technology doesn't have. That's the thing, which is now good that people are showing this, are documenting what's happening,
And it's making everyone else think.
So,
Which is what the point is, are we doing something? Is there something we can be doing more? Is there something we can be doing better? Or at least being aware that this is in place. And
no question.
Anyone who denies it is, there's no point in really having a discussion.
Exactly. And wow, but God, so much more to talk about for sure.
That's a whole other show.
Yeah, right. And Novak Djokovic ejected number 2.
That's a little bit more funny. I mean, Novak, the number 1 player.
It wasn't funny for the poor woman.
It was not funny for the poor woman. But Novak got frustrated in the U.S. Open and, hit a ball. Look, I played tennis. I gotten frustrated. I've thrown my racket. The problem was he hit the line woman in the head or the neck with the ball. He got suspended. He got ejected for the tournament. There's no argument. You can't do that.
You dig?
You get angry. You hit the ball into the
crowd or into the crowd. That's fine.
Or just hit it straight up.
Straight up. Right.
Don't hit her. Don't hit the old woman who's been standing there for 2 hours.
Actually, not the crowd because there's no one there. That's the thing. You can easily do it now because there's no one there. So wow, but it's crazy. And then my number 4, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick splitting up. After 19 seasons together, that was a pretty major thing with Tom Brady. No, 2000 to 2. Yeah, that was 20 years.
2001. So
yeah. So but yeah, that was major because you thought Tom Brady would be a Patriot for the rest of his career, but it's once again in sports, all the great ones end up going on to another team, concluding their career.
For better or for worse.
And it's good. And exactly. It's definitely with the talent around him for sure.
Exactly, because that New England team, we've seen it this year, has absolutely no offensive talent.
Yes, and and we got Sarah Fuller. It's my number 5. My number 5.
First woman to participate in a major college football game.
That's right.
Kicking for Vanderbilt.
Power 5 conference.
Power 5 conference. She did her job.
That's right.
Good for her and and anyone who bitched and moaned that she should have done this, shut up. She did her job.
You dig, and you have changing of the mascot names, which is pretty much Black Lives Matter kind of extension of that. But I like that you put that in. Yes.
Yeah, this is all of this. It all melds in some capacity. And look, to me, if people are offended by it, there's no reason to keep it. There's no harm in changing it to Cleveland, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a freaking last name of a sports team. Who cares? Change it. There's no harm in it.
That's right.
Look, I don't say Dan Snyder does the right thing very often. I mean, I don't think he wanted to do this until a lot of their a lot of their market advertisers were going to pull, but they did. So good for them.
Yeah, no doubt. And then honorable mention, name your honorable mention, Leo Messi.
Mine is Leo Messi. Leo Messi is the greatest soccer player, one of the 2 greatest soccer players of our lifetime. One of the 5 greatest of all time. Been in Barcelona since he was like 12. And this whole escapade of trying to leave, and they wouldn't let him leave because he faxed something, and what a mess. And they were stupid. They should have let him leave. They would probably gotten $200 or $300 million.
I mean, this isn't slavery either. This isn't slavery either. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Come on now.
I wants to leave. Let him leave. He's done enough.
Yeah, right.
He's won you 70,000 cups and championships. He's done enough. He wants to leave. Let him go.
No doubt. No, that's and then Argentine soccer in general, tough year, with the loss of Diego Maradona, with this Messi mess and everything. But I have my honorable mention, which was interesting. 1.6 million buys, Roy Jones, Mike Tyson match, and that entire event. That was like, whoa, and actually, but Seth, it was a better fight than I ever expected. They both came to fight. Roy showed a chin. Everyone was saying
Roy hasn't showed a chin in 20 years.
But he took everything Mike gave him. He took those body shots. He took the head shots. Roy, I was shocked. And Roy, I'm just saying, of course, I wasn't interested in seeing this at first, but I think what makes it great was, first of all, they both came to fight. And they took this seriously. You know what I mean? They didn't take his exhibition, number one. Number two, the event itself is the future of pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Like the announcing Israel Adesanya with Snoop Dogg. And I felt bad for Sugar Ray Leonard. Like I was talking to Doug Fisher a couple of weeks ago on So Much to Talk about the editor-in-chief
I know him
Ring
well.
Magazine.
I used to read him every week on Ring TV.
Yeah, and he said he felt bad for Ray Leonard. And I agreed with him because Ray couldn't get in anything, but it's the future of pay-per-view. Adesanya with F-bombs and Kurt, you know what I mean? Like he's bringing out like entertainment.
I admittedly had no interest.
And also bringing hip hop and boxing together too with the performances.
Anything that can publicize boxing.
Best athletes now. Wow. So my number one is LeBron James, because not just what he did on the field, but of course what he did off the field, having people register to vote. That was big. And his contribution to having people voting, being active in their constitutional right to vote, it swayed the election. It pretty much in Philadelphia, in areas of Philadelphia, Atlanta, Milwaukee, and Detroit. Those are the areas that swayed the presidential election.
What a shame that was.
But Braun had number one and also winning his 4 Finals MVP, first player to win Finals MVP for 3 different teams.
Yeah, I mean. I had him number 5, just simply because my number 1 is just the activist. So for all intents and purposes, I encompassed all of that. Whether it was the U.S. women's soccer team, whether it was the WNBA, whether it was LeBron, whether it was the Milwaukee team, whether it was the soccer around the world, where they're all taking a knee before the games, whatever you want.
That was awesome, Seth.
Encompasses everything.
I love that, Seth, that you put that there. Yes, indeed.
So that to me is the obvious number 1. My number 1 player is Patrick Mahomes.
Woo, Pat! I got Pat number 3, and then you got Lewis Hamilton number 3, and I got Lewis Hamilton number 2. So it's like
it's funny because neither of us have really ever watched Lewis Hamilton.
Well, no, I watch Formula 1. I do it Sunday mornings. I do, especially when I was younger. Nigel Mansell and Michael Schumacher; those are my dudes.
Yeah, well, he passed Schumacher last week for most 92 wins. He's got He's got his 7 championships.
Yeah.
And pulls more women than God.
He's the biggest star in sports in the world, I think, overall. Probably. Him and Ronaldo, and then LeBron is behind him.
And LeBron's right. Yeah, LeBron.
Yeah, right there. 3. Yeah,
it's the only country it doesn't really pull interest in is the U.S. It's not a Formula 1. We're not an auto racing Formula 1 racing
Yeah, it's NASCAR. It's NASCAR, no doubt. And I have now our lists like get different, which I love, because I'll really quickly say my 4, 5, and I have 2 athletes tied at number 5. But Derrick Henry, he's close to 2,000 yards, rushing for 2,000 yards, and this man has been the most dominant player other than Patrick Mahomes over the past 2 years in football, and he's single-handedly carried the Titans to the AFC Championship.
I never saw it coming.
It's funny. I knew he'd be a good player. I knew he'd be a good player, good running back, maybe 3, 4 Pro Bowls, but I didn't think he could be a transcendent Hall of Fame type of back. These last 2 years have been incredible for him.
Alabama running backs go out quick.
Right. Mark Ingram had some success, but not like Henry.
Right. Sean Alexander had 2 or 3 great years of us going back on the field, but then he fell off the face of the earth. The Alabama, the running backs don't hold. And
That's right.
So I'll be honest, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm so glad I have him in our fantasy league.
Right. D. Henry for sure. And but he's been dominant. So I had him number 4. Aaron Rodgers number 5 because he should win the MVP award with the
him and Mahomes are going to be 1, 2.
Right. And I think Rodgers, overall should get it because of the lack of talent around him, and stuff like that.
How Green Bay didn't draft another wide receiver and
that's another thing too. He had a chip on his shoulder, Aaron Rodgers, and I'm glad. Yeah, that's why I have him number 5. And then Mookie Betts I have tied, even though he didn't win, even though Corey Seager ended up winning National League Championship Series MVP and World Series MVP, but Mookie Betts was a finalist for MVP, and he was the piece. He was the missing piece.
I probably should have had Betts in there. Shane Bieber was the best player in baseball last year.
Oh, overall, yes. Oh, Bieber was good.
Was ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
So he was my number 4.
He was on my fantasy team. Oh, woo.
Yeah, I can't do baseball fantasy.
He's my keeper. He's my keeper too for next year too. Only $18.
There you go. I got Henry at 14. I'm in good shape going forward.
But yeah, your number 5. You have LeBron James number 6. Talk about your number 6, Robert Lewandowski.
Well, every year, this has been a running joke. We've done this for 12 years. Have we ever had a year where we have not had Messi or Ronaldo in the top 5?
Right.
No.
We have not. Right. That's right.
They're
every year we've
top
had
10 because the best soccer player in the world last year was either Virgil van Dijk or Robert Lewandowski. He's the forward from Bayern. He's the best player in the world right now.
That's right. Best coach, best player, everything. They got everything.
That's why they're in my number 1 team.
Absolutely, no doubt. And then I had Breanna Stewart, Seattle Storm, coming back from Achilles injury to be able to lead them to the WNBA title and in the bubble as well. And I mean, Breanna Stewart's just incredible athlete, incredible player. Yeah, so I had her number 7. She would have been higher if she won the regular season MVP.
Well, that was it. She didn't win the regular season, which is why I didn't put her. I debated putting her in. I ended up putting Ionescu in. Just because she was the best college,
that's right. You have Sabrina as an honorable mention. Yes, indeed.
I mean, that Oregon team very well may have won the national title, and she was the best player. One of the best women's player I've ever seen. First one to go 2,000, 1,000, 1,000.
That's right. Woo!
I just a couple randoms in there, as I sometimes do.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I was looking this up. Armand Duplantis. I'll admit I know nothing about the dude, except he's the World Athlete of the Year He set the world record for indoor pole vault and outdoor pole vault. I know nothing more about the man, except he's Swedish.
Wow.
I'll put him in my top 10 for that.
And then 2021, he'll probably be in our top 10 for 2021 because the Olympics, So if he breaks the world record in the Olympics as well,
There you go.
I had Israel Adesanya, number 8. You have Devison Figueiredo, who flyweight. Him dominating. Wow, I can't believe I'm talking about UFC like this. Wow.
It's so confusing to me. We've had some discussions but I mean, he was the most dominant champion of this year. He was the fighter of the year. He won, I think, four fights, including the title. Won possibly the men's fight of the year against Brandon Moreno a couple weeks ago, last week. So he would have been my fighter of the year. I have no argument with Adesanya's a beast.
Yeah. And Adesanya, because I think with him, his star power, he's beginning to be the biggest star in UFC, and he's still dominating.
Well, they're trying to get together. They're trying to get him and John Jones.
Woo! Because they've been chomping at them.
Because I'll be honest, the UFC needs that. There's no big super fight, and there hasn't been for a while because no one really cares about Conor McGregor right now.
Yeah, no one does. And Khabib retired too. So
Exactly.
it's like,
so what are you looking at? So that's the fight. It's not really it's a weird fight, but because Jones was going to move to heavyweight.
Yeah.
But it's the biggest, it's the two of the three biggest names in the UFC right now.
And wow, no doubt. And I have Naomi Osaka as my honorable mention. The reason why, because she didn't dominate the WTA, but she did win the US Open, and she's the number one player. And her advocacy, what she's done, you know what I'm saying? So once again with the Black Lives Matter movement, and you have her number 7, Devante Smith, interesting, Alabama.
Dude, he's the best college football player in the country. I don't want to hear Mac Jones. I don't want to hear Kyle Trask. I don't want to hear anyone else. Devante Smith is the best college football player this year. I'm not saying he's going to be the best pro, although because I hope the Giants take him at number 10 in the draft, give or take, because I don't think they're winning the division. That's who I hope they go for, because they desperately need a speedster. They desperately need a number 1 wideout.
That's right. And that's why I was saying Jerry Jeudy. You see what I'm saying with them even, but Devante Smith, do you think he could be a better pro than Jeudy?
I think he's a different kind of pro than Jeudy.
Okay.
I think he's the speedster, and I'm not sure.
So he's more Ruggs. He's more like a Ruggs. Yeah, Ruggs, exactly. Like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think his route running is great. It's not to the level of Jeudy, but everything else he does better than Jeudy. Wow. His hands are just as good. His speed is unfathomable. And like Jeudy, he finds ways to get open. The thing with Jerry Jeudy is we don't know, because without Cortland Sutton, Jeudy became the number 1 wideout with Drew Lock. We don't know what Judy's going to be as a pro yet. And wideouts in a couple of years. Other than Justin Jefferson, who was sensational this year.
Right.
Usually it takes 2 or 3 years for wideouts really to break out.
No doubt. And wow, that's very true. And I have Chase Elliott because, Chase Elliott, 24 years old, 3rd youngest person to win the NASCAR Cup Series, and the second generation guy, as well to win it, and it's amazing with Chase. And also it was a close race, and he's really emerging to be a star in the sport. Teofimo Lopez, I have number 10 because of his win over Lomachenko, and it was a legendary type of win. It wasn't like he barely won. He took it. And then my honorable mention, Naomi Osaka. And that's our top 10 athletes. So now 2021 Breakout Stars, Seth, we always conclude each of the shows and we always have different lists.
We go completely different directions on this.
Give us your number 1.
Number 1's Michael Porter, man. Michael Porter Jr., he's going to be the starting 3 probably in Denver. They need the 3rd star to really have a chance to win a world championship. You got Murray, who's a breakout star in 20. You got Jokic, who's a stud. If Porter breaks out in 21, this Denver team can go all the way.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
The talent. He certainly has the talent to do so.
That's right, no doubt. And I have Mackenzie Gore of the San Diego Padres. He will be with the Padres with the big squad in 2021. They're already a World Series contender, so he's already going to have the lineup to back him up. But Gore is going to come in and make a major impact already. He's the best pitching prospect in baseball, and he's going to be Rookie of the Year for sure. He's going to come in and be dominant. He has the stuff. He can throw high 90s. I remember talking with Steve Garvey on my Where They At podcast. He loves Gore, and he says this kid is something special for sure. And I had number 2, Lamela Ball. The reason the kid is box office. He's entertaining. He's going to be. I'm not saying he's Pistol Pete Maravich. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying he's going to be entertaining like that in his rookie year, because you already see it. His passing, his flair, everything. And he has the team around him where they can make the playing round for the playoffs. Like, he is that good. And I think Lamela Ball, he's my Rookie of the Year.
I got to see, for sure. If you're going to compare him to Pistol Pete.
Seth, I didn't say he was the player Pistol Pete was, but I'm saying the entertaining factor. And
he is incredibly
and he does what he does.
Watch. He'll be a good fit with Hayward, but I just need to see some shooting.
And I
need to see that he can.
But he has, it doesn't, because he has shooters, and he has Graham, he has Rozier, and also PJ Washington. Don't forget him. He's finishing all of it. Like, they're playing beautifully together, him and PJ Washington. So just saying, like, ball. I'm just saying, as a breaking star, he's a star in the making in sports for sure.
Fair enough.
He's going to win a Rookie of the Year. And who's your number 2? Yes, sir.
J.K. Dobbins, because he's kind of been in this little. You got Gus Edwards, you got Mark Ingram, Lamar runs the ball. look, this is a running team. Baltimore's got no one to throw the ball to. Marquise Brown hasn't really done much. Really, you have Mark Andrews. Next year, it's only going to be J.K. Dobbins.
That's right.
Ingram's a free agent. And I don't think they want Lamar Jackson doing all this running, because otherwise you're going to end up with you could end up with a Robert Griffin thing where you don't want your stud quarterback running as much as he does. I think Dobbins breaks out next year and is a monster.
Oh, I agree with you. And Ronnie Stanley too is coming back, so that's going to help the running game and stuff. Too bad Marshall Yanda. You can see the difference without Marshall Yanda. Yep. I definitely see the difference of what's going on with Baltimore. Now, Quintin Byfield, I have him. He's the highest drafted Black hockey player in the National Hockey League. He was drafted number 2 overall. We all know he should have been the number 1 pick in the draft. We all know why that didn't happen. But anyway, but Quintin Byfield, Los Angeles Kings, he's in LA. He's a star. He's going to be a star there. And LA is the place, and the Kings are going to have some relevance. Byfield's going to come in and make an impact immediately. That's why I have him as my number 3.
Okay, my number 3, I'm actually going to kind of turn I had Randy Rosarena, who really broke out in the playoffs this year.
That's right.
That man just went haywire as the second baseman for Tampa. Tampa, a surprise World Series entry. They're going to be right in the running again, and he's going to, he hit 450. He was hitting everything. And
the home run mark,
Yankee hearts all over the Bronx off of Chapman in Game 5. I think he's your all-star second. Him and Torres are going to be your all-star second baseman.
But he got to be careful because, he got into some trouble, with having cocaine on him or something or possession. But see, he said that was his woman that did that. Like, that's what I mean with the drama. I hope he gets that straight, whatever happened, for sure. But I have Alexander Zverev number 4, because I think he's going to break in to he's going to, because Federer is fading, Nadal is fading, Djokovic is still there, but I think Zverev he's going to win I think he can win at least 2 majors next year. I think he can make that step because he's serious. He's only 23 years old. He's getting better and better, and he's someone that's really going to grow. I think he's going to jump as an elite player in the ATP Tour, be top 3 by the end of the year. And like I said, 1 to 2 majors are possible.
Could very well be. My number 4 is Sergino Dent, whoever figured you'd have an American starting at age 18 or 19 for Barcelona.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. And they have a couple starters. I'll tell you, this U.S. soccer team in about 2 years, Pulisic, Dent, they got Weston McKennie at Juventus. Oh, my goodness.
Now, Seth, could they win a World Cup in our lifetime?
Yeah.
I hope so, because that's something I want to see. In my lifetime, absolutely. Wow.
The problem they have is sometimes these people have joint, they can play for the U.S. or Mexico or U.S. or Germany or U.S. or England, whoever. These guys, you're talking the next generation, and this is well past the Michael Bradley, Landon Donovan, Quinton. These are players playing at the top teams, not just the top leagues, the top teams. Juventus, Barcelona, Real, Chelsea. These are top teams.
Wow.
So hopefully it happens.
No doubt. And I have Shakur Stevenson, number 5. The reason why he's not higher, he's not going to get an opportunity to fight Ryan Garcia this year. He's not going to get an opportunity to fight Tank Davis this year because of the promotional things, like issues.
Boxing forever.
And that's the thing. Shakur Stevenson, to me, is one of the top 5 talented fighters in the world right now, but he needs opportunity. He is Pernell Whitaker. He is smooth like that. He can do anything in the ring. And that's the thing. It's like, will he get an opportunity? This should be a lightweight Super 6. This should be a lightweight Super 6 for sure. And Shakur will be in there. He could beat anyone in lightweight and even give a tough time to Lopez or Lomachenko. Yeah.
My number 5 is Andrei Rublev, who's the Russian tennis player. He's going to end up top 5 this year. He won 5 titles last year. I think that's your breakout star.
Zverev and Rublev could be playing for a major title. You never know. Yes, sir. So, wow, Seth Kamens, thank you for joining me once again for the year in review. Always a pleasure. We got to do this until we are 120 years old.
Pretty
sure.
much. Until we can't figure out the technology anymore, we'll be doing this show. I can't wait to have you back on ours, buddy.
No doubt. Thank you, sir. And thank you all for watching So Much Talk About. Have a blessed new year, everybody. Take care. Treat each other with respect. Bye-bye.